Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Welcome, hello, it's Saturday. Did I just do the spot thing? Kind of, I didn't do it on purpose. So welcome back to Big Mouth. You can keep this and any other conversation I ignite going over on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad, on my Vero at Big Mouth 1, and the extension of my Instagram, and you're still not following me over there. Big Mouth, why aren't you doing it? Anyway, welcome to Saturday's edition of the DCEU Daily. And guess what? Our friend Jay Oliver and a big working partner of Zack Snyder has been shouting out truth bombs again. And it's glorious. Let's take a look at this. So this is someone who's not our friend. I won't call him in it. Jody's Corner, right? Yeah, this is a very, very successful guy. He's a YouTuber, and let's see how many followers he's got. Yeah, over 2,239. Wow, what a success story, eh? So he quote tweets Gal Gadot's released the Snyder Cut with WTF Gal ? Then some other idiot called Dr. House, which I'm assuming you all know. I don't know. I've never heard of him. Oh, God, Warner Bros., please release this shit so we can get it over with and forgotten about. No, my friend, that's when you're triggering. It's just about to start. Jody's Corner returns. Yeah, I'm starting to feel the same way. Be careful what you ask for through Snyder fans, bro. Once it reveals his ultimate betrayal of our heroes like Superman, Wonder Woman, Wreck it like never before. Or should we do it like an American accent? Yeah, I'm starting to feel the same way. Be careful what you ask for, Snyder fans. Once it reveals his ultimate betrayal of our heroes like Superman and Wonder Woman, Wreck it like never before. Here comes Jay Oliver with his truth bombs. As someone who's worked on the DC animated universe for the last 20 years, I've got to say that you're wrong there, buddy. These characters are iconic for a reason, and not because there's one definitive version. What you deem as the definitive version, someone else wouldn't think so. He goes on. You are a true fan, and you'd accept every version and not be some elitist thinking you are the gatekeeper of who these characters are or should be. I've done several versions of all of those characters. Each one is different and fits for the story and tone of each take. He's not done. Zack's version is far from a betrayal, and if the audience has stuck with it, they would have seen an epic DC story that DC fans would have loved. If this is where based on a comic book or novel, people would have said, just wait until the final payoff. He goes on. What we got was basically ending the story after Harry Potter's second book and decrying that it's a terrible series. When you come up with any story, you work out the ending and then work backwards. Zack had a great way to end this series. It's the internet. Believe what you want. I lived in this universe over the last 20 years, adapting these characters over and over from older stories like Dark Knight Returns to new ones like what Zack and Co. were doing. He's not going to stop there. What I learned was that DC characters change over the time, but retain their core truths. From the Gold, Silver and Modern Age, these iconic characters adapt to the times of the stories that are told. Zack's DCEU was a reflection of today and what would happen if Superman was real. He's not done yet. A Clark Kent who didn't grow up in the 50s after the greatest generation who fought in World War II, but with September the 11th, the Iraq War, school shootings, etc. It's hard to be someone who grew up in these times to have an attitude of our great-grandparents. Wow. But here's the thing. We're going to see these characters become the heroes we know and love. As a filmmaker, that to me is the most interesting idea. I wanted to see the path of a hero who doesn't know or want to be a hero. The entire Justice League are reflections of the different stages of a hero. From new idealistic hero to the jaded old one who's on the edge of being the villain. This was the territory not really tackled in any superhero film. And to me, that was awesome. Bloody hell, he's amazing. He really is. I mean, what we got here? He's just amazing. I'm just trying to look if there's any more truth bombs here. What we got? Listen. He's amazing. I don't think that. Hang on. But basically, that's it. I was trying to find some more stuff for you guys, but I think that's more than enough, isn't it? Wow. As I say, this guy just keeps on trying to find truth in every criticism, and he doesn't get aggressive. He doesn't get angry. As I say, he throws truth bombs. Now, he brings up a good point, Zach's vision, Zach's plan. Now, he brings up another great point about this is a Superman who's seen, this Superman arrives after 9/11, after the Iraq War. It isn't the 1950s. So Christopher Reeve's Superman really comes after the Vietnam War. People want to believe in something, especially after Nixon and all of that kind of stuff. So they make him smiley, they make him friendly, they make Clark Kent a little bit humorous and a little bit comical. It worked. Without that version, without Donner's and Reeve's version, I would never have fallen in love with Superman, and I love it. Let me be clear. There's people who love the dceu who want to put these two versions against each other. I never want to do that because I love them both. But let's talk about Zach's ultimate vision. First of all, Man of Steel is the first step. So they build up this Superman, and what I love about it is this is a Superman who's not ready to be Superman. He's literally convinced by his father Jor-El to put on the costume before he's actually had any chance to train. So by the time he puts the costume on, he's revealed to Lois Lane, and then Zod arrives. He has no choice to fight as Cal with the Kryptonian, costume on. He can't walk away from this. He's Clark Kent. He's been brought up by the Kents in a certain way, and it's an interesting way of doing it. So when the film starts, he's been travelling around. He's been trying to find clues about his heritage. Again, really, really interesting. A different way, let's say, to what Superman the movie tried to do, especially Smallville. So in Smallville, Clark finds out everything about himself. But this Clark Kent has to travel the world to find more about his heritage. So when he finds Martha, after all of that, and he says, I found them. I found my people. He's so happy. And Henry Cavill performs that really well. But what I love in that scene is Diane Lane's performance as Martha. She's a bit scared. I'm worried that I'm going to lose you. I'm not going anywhere, Mom. Brilliant, brilliant scene. By the way, can I just say, Diane Lane is the GOAT. No, in the UK, what that means is, and I'm in Cyprus, but I'm a Brit, right? The GOAT means she's amazing. She probably is, for me, the best Martha Kent. And I love Annette O'Toole as Martha Kent in Smallville. She was amazing. I've got a lot of time for Annette. But this is the go-to version because she's trying to play this older kind of woman, maybe in her 70s. Now, we all know Diane Lane isn't in her 70s. She's still, I don't know, maybe she's late 50s now. Maybe she's coming up to her 60s. I don't know. But she's not that old. So she's actually performing an older kind of mother whose son has moved away. And the relationship that Henry and Diane construct is really, really beautiful. But then you see the scenes, the flashbacks between Henry and Kevin Costner. Now, by the way, Kevin Costner is one of my favourite, most iconic actors of all time. So when I heard he was playing Jonathan Kent, I was so excited. Actually, two of my heroes, Costner and Crow, two of my heroes, and to have them, and I said it years before Man of Steel, Crow should play Jor-El, because it was rumoured for a long time, and I thought he would kill it, and he did kill it. So Man of Steel, people who say Man of Steel doesn't flesh out the character, it's just about the visuals, it's not. But then you go to the visuals. This film looks exactly how a Superman or a superhero or comic book film should look. It's like you're imagining. Have you ever opened up a comic book and imagined it's real? Snyder gives you that realization, those visuals, and it's so good. But Zack had a plan, and he literally cast gods to play gods. He made sure Henry looked really beefed up. So Henry's Superman is literally kind of this gladiator version of Superman. And the moment in Man of Steel where this moment is summed up is when he's trying to hold the boulder up from hitting the people in the helicopter. It's an amazing moment when the tanker, with the tanker thing and everything, right? Oil rig. I think that's an amazing moment because he's struggling to hold it up. Now, people were saying to me, yeah, but he's Superman. Why would he struggle? Because it's the whole thing of what Jor-El says. You've got to push your limits. He doesn't know what his limits are because up until that point, he hasn't really used his super strength. Yeah, he's been a kid. Yeah, he's pushed the bus from outside the wall, but he's never known how strong he is. So he's pushing his limits, and that moment is amazing. Cavill performs it brilliantly, and the way Snyder directs it is absolutely fantastic. So this was going to be a journey. I suppose you could compare it to Star Wars, not in the kind of narrative journey that it takes, but the kind of chapterized based his vision was going to take. So you've got A New Hope, which is Superman. Superman is the new hope, right? Then you've got The Empire Strikes Back, which is this darker movie, and where we introduce Batman, an older, tired, worn-out, bitter and twisted Batman into it, who doesn't trust this alien after he's seen him battle another alien, and so many people have died. There's been so much collateral damage. That's the whole point of what happens in Man of Steel, and it's beautiful. Some people trust Superman, some people don't trust Superman, and as Jay says, this is the kind of world that we live in now. We don't live in the 70s anymore. That Superman was awesome. It worked for them. But this is a different type of Superman. A guy who not necessarily wants to just listen to his father and say, okay, Dad. But it's a similar thing with Smallville. Clark Kent in Smallville struggles with his destiny. And that's more realistic. That's more believable. That's more relatable. And this is what we got here. Clark doesn't really know what he should do. It's a great conversation after he does save the kids in the bus. And he goes, what do you expect me to do, Dad? Let them die? And he says, maybe. And everyone's going, oh, Jonathan Kent would never say that. Actually, Jonathan Kent would say that. Jonathan Kent's whole thing is about teaching his son values, but ultimately making sure that his son's secret is preserved. That's all Jonathan Kent cares about when he's raising his son. At all costs, he must protect his secret. Even in Smallville, he was thinking maybe he should let Nixon die, the journalist, remember? In the season 2 premiere. So always remember that Jonathan and Martha Kent are just these innocent, simple-minded folk from Kansas. And all they want to do, that they love this boy that they've brought up. And then there's a great scene just before the tornado sequence where you get this whole thing where, I'm not your son, blah, blah, blah. You just found me. And that's a horrible thing for Clark to say, and that's a great moment because we all had these kind of moments where maybe something happens to someone we love, and before that, we have an argument, and we carry that argument for the rest of our lives. And Clark's got to carry that because you get the whole tornado sequence, and for the thickos at the back who didn't understand why Clark didn't just run and save his father, he has such a respect for Pa Kent. And if Pa Kent says, don't do it, it's not the right time, then Clark's going to question himself, and he does. Clark questions himself. Ultimately, he hesitates, and his father dies. But his father is willing to die to protect his secret. Just like Jonathan's willing to die in Smallville, Season 5, Reckoning. This man will do anything to protect this secret. He loves this boy who isn't actually his son, but he feels it in his heart that he is his son. So this is totally believable to what this character is and actually what should be. So we look at Man of Steel, we look at Batman v Superman because we never got the Snyder cut of Justice League. We're hoping we'll get that, but at this moment in time we haven't. So we've got 2 films from this vision, this interconnected vision that Zack was trying to do. Now, a lot of people put loads of accusations. They say these are bad movies. I mean, let's look at what the critics said. They said these weren't good movies. But when you look at their reasoning, you see how corrupt these people are in their thinking. And literally, the reason why they believe Man of Steel and Batman v Superman are not good films is the darkness element, the grit, the realistic element, and simply the real reason they don't like these two movies, right, and he infected the mainstream audience with this thinking too, is they're not Marvel movies. There's not jokes every 5 minutes. Even if someone dies in a Marvel movie, they quickly crack a joke. It's insane. It works for them. They're making billions of dollars. Good luck to them. But you can't expect every vision of a superhero franchise or any franchise to do what Marvel does. It's simply flawed thinking. So Zack actually created something extremely visceral, something so beautiful. Ultimately, the word I'm looking for is compelling. These first two movies in Zack's vision are so compelling and they work. But for some people, they don't work because the Superman in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman isn't Christopher Reeve, right? So simply, you reject something because it isn't the version you grew up with as a kid. Now, here's my thinking. You can go and see Christopher Reeve's Superman movies whenever you like, but you can't expect, and I don't think Zack particularly likes the Christopher Reeve movies. I think he pretty much said the past movies weren't very good, or he certainly doesn't seem to like. I don't know. He seems to be more a fan of Smallville, and there's elements of Smallville that he certainly brings in to his vision. And he said his children used to watch Smallville with his children as well. So he's a big fan of Smallville, which is great to hear because I'm obsessed with Smallville, even now to this day. An amazing retelling of the Superman mythos on a TV show, on a network that was really for teenagers. They did something truly amazing. But for me, when this is the point when you go into the theatrical cut of Justice League, you're expecting the next chapter. Now, Chris Terrio says some interesting things about Justice League when we thought we were getting Snyder's version. He said it will be a lot lighter. This will be kind of the return of the Jedi. It will still have some darker elements. And he also said he wasn't signed on yet to do Justice League 2. And at that moment, I think we all knew there was a problem. Now, at the time, I dismissed it and said, oh, so what? He hasn't negotiated a Justice League 2. Why are you bloggers always stirring it? Because I'm a fan and I don't want to hear any negativity about something that I love. And you lot are the same. We all get triggered by people like Jay got triggered by Jodie's Corner. Jodie's Corner is just about negativity. That's what people like that are about. So, and this is my thing, right? I don't particularly like the Twilight Saga. But when I see those poor when I see those poor SOBs talking about it, I don't slip into their mentions and go, this is crap, I hate this. It's none of my business. Let those people enjoy what they love. And it's like us, let us enjoy what we love. I hate it when I'm talking about the Snyderverse or Man of Steel or anything, and people jump in and say, it's crap, it sucks. Good luck to you. If you don't like it, you don't have to. I'm not here. I haven't formed a YouTube channel to convince people who hate something to love it. I think that Man of Steel is the most beautiful Superman movie ever made, the most compelling, emotional Superman movie. It's so unique, and it's not different for the sake of being different. Those Krypton sequences are amazing. We've never seen anything like that. I think if we got Superman Flyby from J.J. Abrams those years ago, we would have got some similar visuals. Because J.J. is a really good director, by the way. And I think we'll get a great Superman by him. But I don't know what's going on with J.J. and if Zack's coming back or not. We don't know at the moment. We're just kind of adding two and two all together. Will J.J. get a separate Superman universe? Will Zack be able to continue his Man of Steel vision, his arc? These are the questions we're asking right now. We want to see the Snyder Cut. We want to see Zack finish his arc. So these are things we just don't know. I can sit here sometimes when I'm feeling positive and say, I think it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. The truth is, we simply just don't know. where they are now, where Warner Brothers thinking is. We hope last Sunday and last week showed them there's a call for Zack Snyder to be involved. I think at least they understand that even though Zack Snyder is, like it or not, a divisive filmmaker and some people don't like him, there's enough support for him. And what they would have been doing with the analytics is looking at those tweets, looking how many people, is it the same people? Is it different people? Is it also the mainstream audience retweeting this? So they're looking at these analytics right now from Twitter, from social media, asking, is it worth bringing Zack Snyder? Is he worth the hassle? I think, and you think, he absolutely is worth the hassle. I truly believe that. But when I think back to what he set up in Man of Steel and BVS, we look at the nightmare sequence, one of the most amazing feasts we've ever been given. See, Zack Snyder is a fan, and he wants to give us and himself something awesome because he believes in these characters. He loves these characters. He's us making the film. It's like me going to do it or you going to do it. So that nightmare sequence is amazing. It's something we would never have seen probably under Jeff Johns' leadership if he was running DC Films on his own. He would have done something else fantastic. I have no doubt about that. I'm a fan of his. But I actually think that Zack gave us something amazing because that nightmare sequence is integral to his Justice League. Because apparently rumours say that actually Superman, Kal, has a similar vision of that future. So it's interlinked. Batman and Superman are interlinked in something amazing. We still got the rumours that apparently Ben Affleck's Batman dies in Justice League. We don't know that. Did they ever shoot that? Was that true? We did hear also that Clark and Lois have a baby, get married and call it Bruce, which would lend to say that actually this version of Bruce Wayne does die in Justice League anyway. So when people say Ben's coming back, maybe there's no need for Ben to come back. So that's an interesting thing as well. We simply don't know what's truly in the Snyder Cut. The stuff that Zack's told us, like Martian Manhunter, is amazing, and obviously that's true, but there's certain elements of that he would have to finish off. So he has got a completed version. But the thing is what's in there that he wants to be in there? Does he want to release that? Or is he trying to convince the studio for him to go back with the actors and extend to what he was doing? Are they trying to negotiate his return in him continuing and completing his arc? I don't know that. You don't know that. But what we do know, for the fans, for us who appreciate the DCEU of Zack Snyder, that this is just something so amazing and so epic to pass up. What do you think of today's video? Please comment down below. Please like and share the video. Share the channel. Spread the word. Come and find me on Twitter at MoviesTVMad and we can talk. If you want to at me, you can at me. Inboxing, probably. I don't do inboxes. I find it too enclosed and anything can happen in there. Let's talk publicly and that would be cool. I'll speak to you later. And today's a big day if you're a Doctor Who fan, and I'll be back for that later. See you later.